Yes, I'm Mike Stenhouse today with John Marion, Executive Director of Common Cause Rhode Island, and today we're discussing the resolution that would create a constitutional amendment to be voted on by the people of Rhode Island in a ballot question this November. Uh, John, we're going to get to your comments on the bill in a second, but you're part of and you lead a larger coalition of people who've really been, and groups that have really been pushing this. So identify for us, who's in that group, who's in that coalition, and then if you would, tell us your general feelings about this resolution that's been put forward.
Yeah, so there are actually a diverse number of groups and individuals acting just as individuals working on this. The person who was actually at the press conference with the Speaker and the Senate President was Phil West, my predecessor at Common Cause of 18 years. He was acting on his own behalf. There also, the League of Women Voters has been very active for years, but is not part of any coalition. And then there is a coalition, Clean RI, that is composed of almost 24 groups from the left and the right, from the Progressive Democrats on the left to other groups on the right, including Operation Clean Government is part of that. They're sort of the core group in that, and that's led by a man named Bill Felkner.
So our center has also been generally supportive of reform, although it's not our issue, and we will certainly be following your and your coalition's lead on this. So tell us, what is your lead? Do we like this resolution? Should we support it? Does it need to be amended, or is it just too watered down to be any good for the best interests of Rhode Islanders?
Well, it's certainly not too watered down, because we are of the opinion, the lawyers I consulted, that this does in fact do what we want, which is restore the full jurisdiction of the Ethics Commission despite the speech and debate clause. And that has always been our goal all along, and we feel it does that.
Okay.
There may be some additional words that could cement that in, or be the belt and the suspenders, so to speak, and we'll talk about that at the hearing. But we feel even without that we're there. On the moratorium, which has been somewhat controversial, we are not opposed to the idea of a moratorium. We think the way this one is written is not very clear, but we are opposed to having it in the Constitution.
Now, the clarity, if I could on that, clarification needs to come. Isn't there a question as to whether the moratorium exists only for any complaint, or whether that complaint is filed by some political party, or I should say some candidate or campaign?
Yeah, so
Which way
there's
do you read
actually
it?
uncertainty over how to read the language if complaints are prohibited during the blackout period by the public, or if it's just by the campaign of a candidate or the candidate themselves.
And you read it how?
And yeah, and so we think that should be set aside, put in a statute and worked on, and we would support a reasonable moratorium for sure, because we have seen the Ethics Commission used as political football.
Right. All right, and finally, the last provision of consequence anyway is that in the past, the Ethics Commission could expel a member of the General Assembly if they were found, I assume, to be guilty of some ethics violation. Under this new one, the Ethics Commission cannot expel a General Assembly lawmaker. Only the General Assembly itself can choose to do that. Is that correct?
Yes, so the way that it exists now, only people who aren't subject to impeachment, which includes the General Assembly, can be expelled by the Ethics Commission. The General Assembly is subject to something other than impeachment. It's called expulsion by its own membership. This would this change would say that members of the Assembly can be expelled by the membership, but they can't be removed by the Ethics Commission, which has never exercised that power over any elected official in its history.
So you support that change?
So we are fine with that change. We really feel strongly that in the blackout period, the moratorium should be done in a statute and done better. But without that, I think we are going to be quite supportive.
And last question, just one personal, not personal to me, but personal to one lawmaker. Senate President Teresa Paiva-Weed said passing this ethics resolution would be the final piece of the puzzle in restoring public trust to their government. Does it do that much?
Well, so I like to under-promise and over-deliver, not over-promise and under-deliver. I don't think the Ethics Commission is not the solution to our problems. An engaged electorate There are other
Agreed.
reforms,
Agreed.
line item veto. There are other things that will help. There is no perfect democracy, right? Uh, as Winston Churchill, to paraphrase him, he said, democracy is the worst form of government except all the others.
Right.
We are always striving for a better democracy. We think this is a piece of that puzzle, a very important piece we've been seeking for 7 years.
Yep. And we agree it's an important piece, but we also believe there's many, many other pieces to this puzzle of good government. Thank you, John, for being with us today.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
And this is Mike Stenhouse signing off for what's really in your best interest. Good day.